In this video, I thought to show the process I generally apply to most purchases in my life, this time about a new motorcycle. If you like this kind of content and other videos on my channel, drop a like and consider subscribing. It would cost you nothing and will help boosting up my channel to reach 1000 subscribers. Don't forget the notification bell to get real-time updates when I upload new videos. But without further ado, let's get to the video. I have a genuine passion for my Africa Twin. It's a bike I kept wanting for years after it had been launched on the market. The fact that it is a first series without ABS, traction control, or any other electronic gizmos definitely makes it one of a kind. I am not happy with the idea of parting with it, but in full disclosure, the size and the weight have always been a bit on the edge of the comfort zone for me, especially when fully loaded. If you consider that I am 1.78 m tall or 5'10" for the American viewers. Price aside, it would have been even worse with the Adventure Sports model, which has an even taller seat from the ground and it's also heavier. I have done my best to shed weight, but removing a few kilos here and there can't possibly make a substantial difference when handling the bike at low speed, especially in rough terrain or when lifting the bike up after a drop. It can be done, but if there was someone around, I always appreciated the help. Of course, I'm far from being alone in wanting a lighter, less challenging bike with adequate features and performance for adventure travel. In the last few years, motorcycle companies started to notice it, eventually trying to fill the market of the so-called middleweight adventure bikes, generally featuring an engine displacement way much below liter bikes, anywhere from 500 to 800 cc, retaining a 2-cylinder engine to keep them different from single-cylinder dual sports, like the old DRZ 400 or the KLR 650. I started looking for my unicorn bike, following the trend of dropping weight of the machine that I ride, joining conversation of specific ultralight ADV riders, like this specific Facebook group, which I definitely recommend. I want to manage my own expectations regarding the features that I want in order to make an informed decision at the best of my capabilities. In the following videos, I will rate every bike's features following a 3 categories method, labeling them as essential, negotiable, or bonus. I hope that in this way I'll have a more clear picture of what is available in the Brazilian market nowadays, and I also hope that it could be useful to you too. What I consider to be essential: spoked rims. They tackle rough terrain better, and to be honest, I also happen to like the looks way more than any other alloy rim. Total weight way below 200 kilos or roughly 440 pounds. As I mentioned earlier, I want the weight drop from my CRF 1000 to be substantial. Maximum of 5 years old. For my Africa Twin is a 2016 model, and I can't really see myself going any older than that. Availability on the second-hand market will also play a role about this. Luggage readiness, as I definitely need to fit a tail bag on the rear and panniers or soft bags on the sides for travel. Central stand availability, an accessory I simply won't go without for servicing the bike on the road or at home anymore. Predisposition for some form of crash bars if not already fitted. What I consider to be negotiable: a 21 inches front wheel, the best for off-road, but there are plenty of very capable bikes with a 19 inches front that perform well enough for the average needs, plus I don't ride extreme off-road anyway. The only thing that could be affected, however, could be ground clearance, which tends to be higher on bikes with a 21 inches front wheel, but I guess we'll see about that. A twin-cylinders engine, generally associated with a smoother ride and less vibration, especially over long distances at highway cruising speed. ABS. I rode bikes with ABS in the past, but I never owned one yet, so it's definitely not going to be a deal breaker for me, although it would be nice to have, honestly. Windshield. Depending from each bike's ergonomics and shape, some form of wind protection is gonna be desirable, of course, but it really depends from bike to bike. I remember a terrible experience with my TDM 900, for instance, and I would rather not repeat that. What I consider to be a bonus: heated grips. Given the average temperatures in Brazil, it's definitely not a primary concern, and they can always be added later should I need them at higher altitudes. Aftermarket sets like the Technoglobe fitted on my Africa Twin are fine for most handlebars. I spoiled myself 2 years ago with the conversion of the original Africa Twin rims to tubeless. I am aware that on smaller bikes, since I'd like to stick with spoked rims, this would be an exception rather than the rule. I don't even know if in Brazil there are companies offering this kind of service, but worst case scenario, I'll have to make do with tubes, I guess. A 12-volt socket with one or two USB ports. It's always something that can be added for cheap in a later stage if it's not already present. Not a big deal. Metal-framed handguards such as my Barkbusters for extra hand protections, or any other brands really. A tank cap compatible with quick lock system for tank bags. It would be nice to transfer my existing tank bag using the SW Motex system, given the proper flange adapter for the new bike. I'm sure there are many other factors that I'm leaving out, but some will probably depend from bike to bike, like foot pegs, dashboard options, handlebar controls. That will come up anyway. In the research I've made, there are already 3 bikes I have my eyes on. Remember to subscribe to see what is the first bike coming up in my radar for this research, and until then, ride safe!